What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today, it's been a rough day. We've sold off. We came in, we again started like we wanted to push, although we were holding that resistance quite well. Actually, took puts in this again this morning, and we started selling off. I didn't ride this all the way down. Ultimately, Powell and Yellen came on today. They were speaking in front of the House today, essentially talking about inflation and crypto and all the other stuff they were talking about the Senate with. So nonetheless, that started everything. We had core CPI numbers, which were bad. We had a lot of stuff that was bad today. And then we had ultimately what matters is the debt ceiling suspension. There was a lot of news actually that came out around this time. Towards midday, we got the news that they were going to get an extension for it, but the issue is that the extension is for December. So this issue is not going away. It's just being delayed a couple months, which is not a good sign. The market definitely not like that because it attempted to push and then look more like a retest here. And then we just dropped that last hour. Same pattern we've been playing essentially every day for the past couple of days. With that last hour, we've just sold. I believe it was like $6.5 billion that were essentially to the sell side in that last hour. So the market does not like the fact that we are just delaying it to December. If this was, I talked about this, as if this was a full year suspension, then it's easily forgettable. We're only pushing it a couple months back, which is not good because this is going to be a lingering issue now come December, especially during a time when there is a lot of, not a lot gets done around the month of December, especially when it comes to the government. So being said, this is going to bring up the issue. This is going to be a lingering issue. The market does not like that. It wants certainty. You give them a year. They have time. They can put money back in the market. They can let it sit for a while. They can rethink about how they want to create a plan of attack. But if you're only giving them a couple months, 2 months, 3 months, they are not going to want to shift their money into it. They're just going to take their money off the table. And that's what we're seeing. And so being said, the clarification is not good. They don't try to avoid a shutdown. That's great, but you're just kicking the can to essentially just around the corner, and then you're going to come right back to it. You're going to have all the same issues again. I understand the pandemic and everything is going on. So this debt ceiling is a little bit more concerning because of that fact that there's a lot of spending because trying to help people out. That's ultimately what the government is for. But ultimately understand that there is still the massive amounts of debt that we're accumulating through this pandemic is getting quite crazy. So I can understand why they delayed it, although neither one of the parties essentially want to lay claim essentially to the debt. Although this has been going on, I think it's been 78 years. It's been delayed straight, right? We haven't defaulted yet. So this is a small delay to see where we stand as far as what the pandemic is, the variant and everything. So the market is just so much uncertainty right now. The market does not like what is going on. It does not like what the administration is doing. And so we're getting selling. Now, will this continue? I think tomorrow we may see some pretty heavy selling. It is Friday. No one wants to hold. The government doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, they may be funded for another 2 months, but we're right back at it in 2 months. So we got earnings coming towards the end of October. Tomorrow is the first day of October. So we did have end of the month today, but ultimately I don't believe that's what it was. Ultimately, I believe the fact that it's just been delayed 2 months, uncertainty. Market doesn't like uncertainty when it comes to anything. There's just been a lot of uncertainty with this debt ceiling stuff and understanding because inflation is not straightforward. Powell is still essentially saying that it is transitory, which very well could be, but it's hard to tell because everybody is pushing. The numbers are going up. The numbers are going up. Yes, but are they going to stick? And we won't know till after the fact. And we saw this even a couple months back in copper. Copper and a couple other metals, they went bonkers and they went up dramatically because of the chip shortage. And then all of a sudden, they just sold off, and then it was perfectly fine. And then we got the inflation into used cars, which has come down. We got the inflation into a lot of travel stocks, which is something that hasn't come down quite yet. But I think a lot of people, people are still getting their last minute trips in and everything. I think it'll still be a while before that stuff starts to come down. So it's just being patient, and I think Powell is trying to push that, but you got Congress, you got the House that don't believe in that. They think that it's here and it's going to stick. Even Powell's starting to comment that it might stick, but he's not sure. He still thinks it might be transitory, but there's just a lot of uncertainty. And to try to project something when you don't know what the different variables are is extremely hard. So, being said, this is where it leaves us. We leave us looking 2 months coming back to the topic. Again, we got 4 weeks before earnings. Big tech earnings anyway. Earnings will start sooner than that, but the ones we really care about, big tech, your Teslas, your Facebooks, your Apples, all those, they happen at the end of the month. Being said, I think this selling is just temporary. I think we may get another day of selling, and then that would be it. I think we needed that one more leg down. I think ultimately is what it was. That would bring a lot of stuff into support. Now, it doesn't say we couldn't crater tomorrow. I think we could possibly crater tomorrow. At least one more leg down. I don't think the market's going to crash. I don't think that's none of this is going to lead to that, in my opinion. We could wake up tomorrow and we could be down 100 points, maybe. I don't know. But in my opinion, I don't think it's going to do that. I think we'll do one more leg down. Then we'll start next week. We'll start ramping up for earnings. But I think this earnings cycle will be very short-lived. The last earnings cycle we had was very fast, right? Or very long, I should say. We had big tech, and then weeks after that, big tech kind of lagged. That first week, they actually had earnings. Actually, some of them sold off, and everything turned back and just rallied like 2-3 weeks later. So being said, this one, I think we're going to get the run up, then might stall. Then we're going to start dying off quickly again, pending on what is going on with this debt ceiling and what it lingers and what's coming of this. As long as this stuff is being held over our heads, the market is going to not like that. And I think it would be more panicky to sell at that point, which could lead to possibly more selling. But everything is at good support right now. So I think we're going to get maybe another week or so of selling, of stagnation, and just the volatility of what we're dealing with. Then we'll get a good solid 2 weeks, I think, of earnings run-ups. I think our earnings run-up might be a little short-lived this time around, like I said. And then after that, we may start selling again in anticipation for what could happen with the debt ceiling. Again, all theory, you have to have some kind of plan of what you propose might happen. Just going into it blindly and thinking nothing's going to happen. The charts aren't playing the way they should play, and a lot of people are seeing that. And so that's why I've said I haven't really come up with a watch list because stuff changes every morning, and you don't know what's going to happen until that morning. You wake up, it could gap up, could gap down. Everything could be, it could be world peace tomorrow, and everything just goes up 100 points tomorrow. So we have to really see and pay attention day to day and see what happens. But right now, that is what is going on. The market doesn't like the fact that it's just being delayed till December. Now, again, if it was delayed for another year, that would be completely different. And I think the market would have turned around and ran from that point. It wanted to run. And initially it started to, once it started understanding that it was getting passed, but it was only getting passed till December. So here we are, and we will see. Being said, Google just struggling. Just a lot of these are struggling bad. Facebook's actually been holding extremely well at this 340 mark. I want to see what this continues to do through this whole madness right now. Apple's actually been holding as well, the solid level. That's one thing that's kind of reassuring is your Facebooks, your Apples, Teslas also sold off a little bit more after hours. It broke the wedge here, so this is kind of concerning. If this does start selling off, it could start really bringing the market down. So that's something to keep in mind. Amazon is at a really important level here too, because if this breaks this support here, Amazon could really start falling, and then the whole market might really, we might have a decent sized correction. We're only at 5. I could see us maybe dropping another 7%, just because of the current circumstances. Like I said, beginning of the week, it didn't seem that way, but things change very quickly when stuff isn't of liking to the big money that is out there. So being said, this is kind of where it leaves us. Planter is holding for now. It's close to that 200. A lot of these are close to the 200. We really don't want these to break. Roblox, I actually caught this move today. I'm looking at this tomorrow again. We'll see how much further it drops down. Again, Tesla, I'd really like to get it down a little bit further. We'll have to see how that plays out. Microsoft looks like it's going to is about ready to turn the die here tomorrow. So this is why I don't generate watch lists. I know people have a watch list every single day, but when the market is like this, it's better to wait and see what happens and before start taking positions, unless you're intraday trading. And even me, I've been trying to take a lot less intraday trades and really waiting to see what happens. Wait till stuff hits a good support, try to grab the puts from the top, and try to be patient. As far as right now, the sentiment is down. The sentiment is to sell, so be aware of that. But it can change very quickly in this market. So the market's ready to buy it up. So as soon as there's good positive news, I believe, because we haven't really bounced, our bounces have been really weak. So I think once we do get really good news, I can see us jumping on the SPX, 60 points, 50, 60 points in a day very fast, just because of the way the market is currently been acting. SQ is still hovering around that 200, which is interesting to see. There's a lot hanging around 200, so I want to see how this plays out. NVIDIA it tried to actually break out today. Again, all the news and everything consolidating around the 50. Want to really see what these do, and until we get something a little more solid, or maybe we just need digestion on what happened today, go into tomorrow and see what it gives us. Do we gap down, gap up? We could gap up and then all of a sudden we start running. Very possible, is always 50-50 chance. Right now, still though, my mind right at the current moment is again, I am sell biased currently, again, but that can change in the morning depending on pre-market. So if you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. Remember to manage risk and take your time, because right now there is a lot of uncertainty. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later.